Hi everyone. This is the self-awareness exercise for the week of October 27th, or whenever you see the names of the cards and they grab your interest. So the first card that you get is resistance. And I really like that one because whenever I come to resistance, I realize that something is not in alignment. So listen. Just the right amount of resistance creates the friction or stimulation that provides momentum for change and growth. Too much resistance can create so much drag that it brings things to a standstill. Resistance is a force of energy and deserves to be acknowledged and dealt with in some way. It will, or dealt with in some. I took my glasses off. I shouldn't have done that. Resistance is a force of energy and deserves to be acknowledged and dealt with in some way. Oh, it's a typo. Or it will continue to apply pressure and potentially cause damage to the existing structure. This could be the structure of a job, a relationship, a personality, or anything that has a system of operation with parameters and boundaries. So the way I'm going to look at that is, where in my life have the structures come to be too tight? Oh, and this is interesting because this is something that just came up for Taurus, and I am a Taurus. So looking at that, it's okay, where have I found myself pulling away from doing things that I used to do, that I used to enjoy, or that used to support me? Where have I found my living space uncomfortable, my work space uncomfortable, my schedule uncomfortable? Where am I not looking at structures that are potentially just meh? They're okay. I'm surviving in them, but they're not expansive. And where can I use that as an indication of where I can grow? Because if I'm, it's like a lobster, right? They grow, and it's the feeling too tight in their shell that causes them to discard it and grow another one, right? It's the feeling of resistance that wakes us up. So where can you be woken up in your life? Look for where you're bored, look for where you're frustrated, where negative emotions are getting triggered, and say, what structure is that part of, and what might that be relevant to look at? What might be relevant about that? And what came up in the reading that I was doing before was, if a structure, an external structure, is mirroring part of us, which it does because we create things out of who we are, what does that say about who we are, who we've been, who we no longer wish to be, or who we no longer are? What aspect of our personality does this part of us that has grown no longer resonate with? And what's it asking for? What kind of space is it asking for? Now, you're in the process of this, you're being asked to embrace the energy of compassion. And I think that's really important, because when we're operating from a place of compassion, well, here it is. Compassion carries an awareness of the vulnerabilities of others and ourselves. There's an empathy which allows for a gentle, kind approach, nudging us to move away from the need to blame and judge and move towards a desire to simply understand. Choose compassion. So important, because when we are in that state, we don't have to blame ourselves for being anywhere. We don't have to blame anybody else, because really the reality is, if we're in any structure that we don't like, we've helped create it. Even if it's somebody else in the structure that seems to be creating the problem, we've helped create that structure. As adults, we've helped create that structure, okay? Now, the awareness activity that you're being asked to bring into your world, and this goes back perfectly to identifying resistance, is smile full on. Does your smile meet your eyes? Does it start in your heart? Today, be aware of letting your smile extend up to your eyes and down into your heart. Your mouth is the connection. This may take a little time until you get the hang of it. Feel the difference in how you feel physically when you do this. Notice how people respond to you. Now, that card came up long before, or that the content of that card was written long before Oh my God, a long time ago, before heart mind coherence was even discussed. But that's exactly what it's about. It's that connection between heart and brain and allowing it to be expressed here. This is your junction point, right? Which is really also very interesting because in polarity, this is the ether. This is the throat chakra, is the ether chakra. And we look at that as being the expression of the spirit. This is where it comes to life, is through our breath, through our speech. So you're being asked to be really genuine as you're looking at things where you feel resistance during the week. Carry the energy of compassion, which is more about, again, curiosity, welcoming information, and from that place of not exactly neutrality, because there's more kindness to it than just neutrality. But what there is no negative judgment, just awareness. And notice that as you deliberately start connecting your heart and your head by using that sensation of, am I feeling the happiness in my heart? Does it reach my eyes? When I'm smiling, is it genuine? Is it coming from a deeper place? Or is it just a social facade that I'm putting on? Yes, hello, how do you do? Think about the difference between that and when you take a moment and you let yourself feel compassion for whoever you're smiling at. Oh my God, it's a game changer. It's a game changer. And this, to me, is underlying a lot of change, a lot of potential for change. Because resistance really ultimately is really about something not being in alignment with our higher heart, with our deeper self. So I think when you put these through together, allowing yourself to consider areas of resistance that pop up during the week, either as you just notice them or as you decide to journal and write about it, as you embrace the feeling of compassion, the energy of compassion, and embody it as much as possible. And when you actively make an effort to have your smile and your positive, not just your smile, but any positive intention really come from a feeling place in your heart, how does that all fit together? And where does that help you identify what resistance might be about? I love this. And again, of course, this is something that you don't necessarily have to do according to how I'm laying it out. This is for you to read these cards, to look at them and say, how is that relevant to me? What strikes me as being accurate? What strikes me, not just even the truth, but what feels comforting, what feels jarring, and then you check into why it's jarring. Does anything jump off the card at you as you're reading it? That one sentence might mean something to you and the rest of the card might mean nothing. So this is where you start playing with your intuition and how these cards are speaking to you personally. Now, in terms of the Smile Full On card, that is a great exercise to do any time at all. But it certainly fits in with the embodying the compassion card and also resistance. Like, you know what? We don't have to live in a state of resistance, constant resistance. How can we be compassionate to ourselves? Smile with our heart. Let our heart come up to our eyes as we're looking at the areas in our life where we deserve to get out of resistance, where we have the ability to grow from that and move more into that continued experience of heart and mind connection. That's it for me. Have fun with it. Take care.